That we are live. Oh, I need to turn that down a little bit. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'm live! Yay! Marvellous. Love it when a plan comes together. Right, so let's turn the volume down on that. And then I can have that there. So, today I am using the Arranger Wreath bundle from the annual catalogue, and it's confession time. The confession is I haven't used it yet, and it's from the annual catalogue. So yeah, so what have you got that you have had for quite a while that you have yet to use? I would love to know. I'm just gonna do a quick update here. Who we got? We've got Jan. Good morning. Sorry, I just need to get rid of that message. So, yes, and it's another grey day here in South Oxfordshire. We are currently on a, fortunately for us, only yellow weather warning for heavy rain in the next couple of days. Further north into the north of the country, as by country I mean England, because for those of you overseas, we have 4 countries in the United Kingdom. Hello, Renee from Australia. So, yes, in the north of England, we are being threatened with heavy rain thanks to Storm Christoph. I think it's Storm Christoph. Morning, Lorna. Morning, Candy. So, yes, it's confession time, guys. What have you got that's been sitting in your stash that you haven't yet used? This is my confession. It's Arranger Wreath. Hi Rose, but we're using it today on 2 cards, so I'm hoping that I will then continue to use it. So I'm going to let everyone have a little chance to sign on and then comment, because I do like to know where you're from and those sorts of things. What can I give you in the way of interesting or not? Hello Claire. Interesting or not information? Well, in England, and again I'm using England deliberately, we're doing really quite well with our COVID vaccinations. I think we're up to nearly 4 million having had their first dose so far. Morning Kay from Kansas in the US of A. Pam from Australia. Gosh, we've got some early birds and some late birds. So yes, I think we're up to nearly 4 million first-time inoculations. Some people have had their second. My father has had his second, but some are having to wait for 12 weeks or up to 12 weeks for their second. We're through quite a few of the top priority categories, so it's all looking good. Lorraine, evening from Victoria, Australia. Hello. What else can I tell you? England's still in lockdown. I mean, all the nations are still in lockdown. They've all just got slightly different lockdowns. Morning, Claire. Hi, Nora. So anyone who is on here who is a customer or team member of mine, just a quick update. If you're a team member, there's an update on the demo site about all sorts of things, including shipping. For those of you who are customers who are waiting for deliveries still, we are still having discussions with UPS about when we're going to get the packages through. Currently, UPS seem to be the only company, as in courier type company, that is delivering from Europe into the UK. So there is an enormous backlog because the world and his mother are now using UPS. And obviously it's a new process, etc., etc. I did hear that somebody received a parcel yesterday. Oh, fingers crossed. I have a few parcels that have supposedly cleared customs both in Germany and for the UK. So I'm hopeful that things might start moving soon, but I will be sending out a newsletter to my customers later today, fingers crossed, with an update, just so that you've got that. Renee prized peony bundle. Oh, but it's gorgeous. You've got to ink it up. It's stunning. And you've got to. Have you got the peony paper? Because if you have, you need to use it before it retires. I don't know if the peony stamp set bundle will retire, but the paper definitely will. Well, I say definitely will. Generally, all the papers retire, and then Stamping Up do something different and decide they're not all retiring. But hey, I am not in their circle of people who they tell. So yes. So that's where we are. I know it's not great that deliveries are taking so long, but we will get through it. And once everybody knows how the system works, I'm sure things will run smoothly. We always knew that it was going to be vile in January, so hey! Morning, Wendy from a soggy Swansea. So, what else can I tell you? Not a lot. Not a lot. Hubby and I are on a diet. We're trying to go for a reasonable walk most days, with the bad weather forecast. Whether we will be doing so over the next couple of days, I don't know. We're managing to exercise our legs incredibly well, because by the time we finished our walk, our Wellington boots are covered in mud, so we're carrying weights as well. But yes, it's the January-February annual diet, but I am getting really good at piece of nom recipes, which are amazing. Couple of the dishes that I've already done, Martin has said he'll be very happy to eat even if we're not on a diet, so it's really good. Right, I'm going to have another sip of coffee and then I will flip you down. Oh, and before I do, I will just remind you, how are the cats? The cats are well. They don't like the weather, which means they stay in more, but they are very well, thank you. I think they're a bit stir crazy because it's such nasty weather, and Pepper, the boy, is determinedly trying to ruin my jigsaw puzzle that I've been working on for about 3 weeks because it's so difficult. It's a hand-cut Van Gogh picture, so it's a hand-cut jigsaw, and where there's anything that's straight in the jigsaw, it's been cut straight so it looks like it's an edge piece. It's a nightmare. Yes, Wendy, I did mention that just before you joined, which is part of the reason that they are slightly overwhelmed at the moment. So, yes. Right, so I was going to say something else. Oh, yes, so just to remind you, YouTube Live, Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, Morning Bee, and Saturday morning at 10. And they're both YouTube and they're both live. So if you are on YouTube as well as Facebook, you can join me for those on Thursday afternoon, UK time 3 p.m, and Saturday morning UK time 10 a.m. So yeah, I will get my really tatty piece of washi tape and flip you down. Oh, come on. Down you go. Right, let's see. I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjustment, but not too much, I hope. I'm trying to work out which Wendy you mean. Sorry, which Mary you mean, Wendy. I've not seen a Mary join. That will do. B, I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. Go to the demo site when you've got a moment and look at the update. Hi, Shani! Right, so just to prove how unsullied this stamp set is, I'm going to take the... well, actually, if I take that off, it doesn't make any difference. Mary's watching, is she? Mary, you're there, I missed you. Hello, Mary. I miss you, Mary. Working from home again, yay! Sorry, I missed that you joined the call, Mary, and B, I'm missing you as well. But hey, we are where we are. So, just moved some lights across. I have done some die cutting already. And I'm just going to start putting things together. So, as I say, we're using a range of Wreath. Let's have a look at the dies. I'll try and plug my brain in at some point during this live. So we have in the dies, we've got 2 Wreath dies. We have lots of flowers, and then we've got some things that die cut for the stamps. Thank you, Lorna, for sharing, and some things that don't. So things that die cut that are stamps, we've got. Trying to see if I take this off, it might be less reflective. Thank you, Mary. I'm sorry. I still would have liked to have said hello as you joined. So this stamp we have a die for. The hearts we have a die for, and it's a double, so you can stamp the hearts and then die cut both of them together. This leaf we have a die for. These splodges, I believe we have a die for, and I think it's that one. Yes, so it's this one here. The Easter eggs we have a die for. The pears we have a die for. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Claire. And this leaf here we have a die for. Everything else is a free-for-all. So the ones that are that we have that don't have dies are this circle here, and I'm trying to work out why. I think it may be the knot for the bow. We've got a spare, so we've got a bow and a spare set of loops, so you can layer those up to get a really exciting bow. These little flowers, we don't here, so there's these 4, too small, too big. We don't have a stamp for. This, oh, hang on, 3 small, too big. This flower we don't have a stamp for. That leaf we don't have a stamp for. And the 2 wreaths we don't have stamps for. So this stamp does not coordinate with either of the wreaths, but you can use the stamp and then layer up. So not that I'm doing that. I'm concentrating on the dies. I will be using some of the stamps, but I'm concentrating on the dies. So the first card that I am going to make is really quite straightforward. I mean, they're both really quite straightforward, but let me grab them. I'm going through a phase of white on white. And, ooh, I'm just going to dig something out for later. Because it's another white on white, which I will share with you in a moment. So I've got a white card base. Now I'm deliberately using the word white at the moment because, as you know, we're transitioning from whisper white to basic white. I as yet do not have any basic white, so I'm using my whisper white. I'm told that basic white is a whiter white. Can't believe I'm saying all these whites. If you want to see the difference and have a guided tour through the difference, I think I've mentioned this before, but Patty Bennett is really good at, she's done a comparison. Ooh, Shani hasn't used this set either. See, I bought it for Christmas and then forgot I had it because I put it in my annual catalogue stuff and not my seasonal catalogue stuff. Bad idea. So I have a long thin card base. Thank you, Mary. Which I'm just going to fold in half. I had a sort of minor clear up, so I actually know where most of my important bits are. I haven't cleared the floor yet. There's a passage between the boxes to my craft desk. So plain whisper white card base, and I'm going to use this white card, which I have, you can just see, I have embossed with the Scripty 3D embossing folder, which is in the annual catalogue. It's just so that it's not flat. Flat is fine, but I just wanted something that was not totally flat. And I'm actually going to pop this up onto the card base, possibly. Haven't quite decided yet. And on that, I have already die cut from Soft Seafoam, the more leafy version of the two dies. So we've got a leafy version and big leaf version. And then this, hi Helen, I love Scripty as well, Candy. It's a really good, subtle background. I'll come on to why I'm suddenly going through a white on white later on. Thank you, Rose. So this is the die cut that I'm using for the wreath, and I'm simply going to add that to my mat with Tombow. When my brain comes back, I will be so pleased. It's gone for a little walk. It's been a fairly intense couple of days. Various things have been going on in my life, and frankly, I could do with a couple of days of boredom. I would really like to be able to sit down and finish my jigsaw puzzle. I'm so close to finishing it, but I'm left with the sky, and it's all the same colour, and it's about a third of the puzzle. So yes, and because it's hand cut puzzle pieces, there is no logic to them. Right, so pop that down, and as ever, hello Lorraine Douglas, and thank you for sharing. No, you're from Australia. I do remember saying hello to you. Good grief, my brain. Right, so I'm just pressing that from the back, so that I don't like pressing from the front in case I skid. So let me just bring that up so you can see it a little bit clearer. So just simple glue and pop it down. Now the flowers I have again already die cut. I am going to do a little bit of stamping to add to these, which I'm going to do on a scrap. Hello, one scrap of, and in So Saffron. I might do some Soft Seafoam as well, but to begin with I'm going to do So Saffron, and I'm going to use the larger leaf. Not leaf. It's a flower. Oh, Candy, I love that. Yes, I know they're supposed to be fun. And it is fun when I'm allowed to do it. The satisfaction, sorry, because I haven't used this stamp yet, I'm just rubbing it on my hand to take any of it. There may be some silicone or something on to release it from the mould. When I'm actually doing it, it is fun, and the sense of achievement when I might do a second generation and see what that looks like as well. Oh, I quite like that. When that's die cut, that will look nice. So I'll do another couple of first and second generation and just clean that off. So yes, the sense of achievement is just amazing. So I am enjoying it, but it's just, and particularly when the cat then decides to play with some of the pieces, it's fun. Some of them have now got bite marks in. They are wooden, fortunately, so it's not quite as bad as it might be. So let's just grab another block. So I'm going to do some Soft Seafoam leaves, and I'm going to do them on the same block, and then I can just stamp them together at the same time. So here's a question, and I know some of you won't be able to answer it, but for those of you who can, you see, this is what happens when you don't prepare your stamp. You see what's happened? Really bad. Really, really bad. Do you prefer the format of Facebook Live or YouTube Live? It's not a loaded question. I'm just wondering. Because different people have different ideas about which they prefer. And I just think it would be interesting to find out. Will they fit there? Yes, they will. Although they're very pale, I may not use those. Anyway, I'm quite pleased that I didn't prepare the those two stamps so that I can show you the difference between the finish on them. So anyone who ever wondered, see, these are the ones that I didn't prepare, and these are the ones that I did. Right, so I'm going to bring in my lovely little mini die cutter, because I like my mini die cutter. So Audrey prefers YouTube, Claire prefers YouTube. Okay, this is useful to know. I know quite a few people are not on Facebook, which is why I say either's good for you, Mary. Lorna prefers YouTube. Okay. Right, so we're going to do quite a bit of quick die cutting. Sorry, but that's just the way things go. I need the leaves. That leaf and that leaf. Either for Shani. Okay. It's just, I know there, as I say, there are some people, and I completely understand this, who don't particularly like Facebook as a forum. Jan is fine with either. Candy is fine with either. I have to say I'm not a great fan of Facebook as a forum. And this goes, why, can I ask why they prefer YouTube? Absolutely you can. So Rose wonders why people prefer YouTube. Pam wants to know what's the difference. What's the difference? Well, firstly, part of it will be my setup, to be fair, because I've got my setup on YouTube, means I can zoom in and things like that, and I haven't quite managed to get the same setup for Facebook. Better picture. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a better picture as well. Ditto Claire. Oh, sorry, that is Claire, who said the thing that I was reacting to in the first place. Right, so I just need the flower now. I'll just die cut one more of the dark flowers, or one of the dark flowers, because I can't do one more of something I've only done one of. Yeah, I mean, I think YouTube, because YouTube is really set up for videos, whereas I think Facebook is kind of, you can get away with it. Ooh, the die's not the same in all directions. So yeah, I mean, I do manage to do picture in picture on YouTube, but that's me. Okay, that's very useful to know that that Facebook freezes where YouTube doesn't. So I just need to give that a bit of a helping hand. As I was saying, I can't remember when it was last week, you do need to line these things up carefully. Oh, Audrey, that's so kind. You only log on to Facebook to watch me. Yeah, I mean, I've got, thank you B, much better picture, easier to use. So yeah, that's not to say that I'm thinking of moving away from Facebook, because I'm not specifically. I'm just interested to know what people's thoughts are on the subject. So a lot of it's to do with the stability of the platform, which is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but when you say it, yes, lots of people have said that I've frozen. Right, so I've got my die cut flowers, and I've got my die cut and stamped flowers. So I'm just going to layer these up. And I'm going to concentrate on, actually, I'm going to concentrate on the left-hand side. So I want to pop a couple of these down. Not relying on one platform's better. That's very interesting, Candy. Thank you for that. So yes, so it could be that if there's a problem with Facebook, I can go to YouTube and vice versa. So I'm just going to pop that down there. There's no logic to what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. When did I ever have logic about things? As I say, I just think it's really interesting to find out. There's a word for a Tuesday morning, capricious, and I know exactly what you mean. Yes, they can be. Right. So I'm going to layer that over there a bit. So I'm just adding some adhesive to the petals. From a user point of view, I think I do prefer YouTube from my end. Let me just show you where I am so far. So I've got one of the leaves, so stamped leaves, stamped flower, flower. And then I'm going to come in with another of the flowers. So I'm going to, yeah. In fact, I might even go to the point now where I'm going to pop things up a bit. I'm not a great fan of these holes, to be honest, in the die cut. So I think we're going to, whatever we do, we're going to be covering those up. Just so you know, I don't like seeing things through. I know I'm odd. So just maybe 3 of these. So on alternate petals. Ooh, Audrey, I've got a question for you. So a friend of mine who is shielding has asked me, someone in the village, has asked if I would make a card for his wife's birthday, which is on Burns Night. And they have no Scottish heritage, so no connection with Scotland whatsoever. But he wonders if it would be nice to have a Scottish themed birthday card because of the date. So, bearing in mind that I'm using Stampin' Up stuff, any thoughts? I'm thinking the plaid tidings DSP. But other than that, yes, I quite like that. Other than that, I haven't really had any thoughts. They're in their mid-70s, just as a guide. So if you've got any thoughts on that, I would be very grateful. Sorry to put you on the spot. Don't worry if you haven't, just a thought. Right, so as I say, I don't like these dots, but this is where we are so far. So we've just got this little cluster. So it's a lopsided wreath, little cluster here, and I'm going to pop a sentiment down here just to balance everything off and do a smattering of embellishments. So I've got pearls. Thank you, Kay. It's supposed to be for all seasons, as it were. Now there are the pastel pearls as well, but they aren't the right colours. These are the ones that go with the hydrangea one. Is there or was there a thistle stamp? Not that I've got, unfortunately, B. Good idea though. So let me just grab So Saffron and Soft Sea Foam Dark blend. So I just want to colour some of my pearls. But yeah, no, that would be a very good idea if there was anything thistly, which there sadly isn't. Ah, that's a good idea, Audrey. Yes, a mouse stamp. I'm sure I've got a mouse somewhere for thé mousse. So I'm just colouring some of these with the So Saffron Dark blend. I'll show you what they look like momentarily. It's probably going to be easier for me to show them to you once they're actually on the card. And I do tend to go back and give them a second coat, which does make a bit of a difference. Just make sure that they're dry before you do. So yeah, I think Plaid Tidings and a mouse would make sense. Thank you. See, I know there's always someone who can answer my bizarre questions. Right, so let's just pull that up. So this one, just being careful to not touch the surface too much. Oh, come along. That's better, because I don't want to smudge the glue. Not glue. Oh, please, brain, come back. The ink. So I'm just going to tuck that in under there. There was a stamp, Mice and Mushrooms. Yeah, but I don't have it. So this is the So Saffron Pearl. So you can see it's picked up the colour quite nicely. Before I add any more, I'm just going to do my sentiment. So I need another scrap of Whisper White, or white. So scraps of white, and I'm going to use the stamp. Best Wishes, always a good one to use. Jan, I'm being really good about not moving, sorry. Nice idea, but Martin and I are on the verge of shielding at the moment because we're hoping to get my father up again. So thank you, but are there any men's stamps like the ladies? Oh, you mean like the Hey Girlfriend? No, but it's a lady that I'm doing the stamp for. Or a mountain with a splodge. Add 4 legs, too short. Oh, I like that. A haggis. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh quite so loudly on that, but yes, what a great idea. Right. Anyway, you've given me some lovely suggestions, so thank you. Right, I'm going to use So Saffron, because So Saffron ink actually, full strength, is not... Hi, Louise! Is not that... that light. And also, Jan, I want to get the card done today so I can drop it in so that the pressure's off. So although it's a couple of days before the birthday, I'm hoping to get that done today. Oh, I'll have a look, Shani. The ones we put clothes on are made of paper. Not quite sure what you mean, Candy. Anyway, thank you all. I've got some very good ideas now. So that's perfect. Right, I'm going to bring out the mini chopper because these are small. So, or this is small. I'm just going to rip that bit off. And now I'll go that way first, I think. So I'm just going to line that up, hold it very tightly so that I know it's in place. It's lovely, isn't it? I love it, Louise. So Saffron is just a perfect colour. It's probably, of the yellows, my favourite. It's the one I grab most frequently. There was there were all sorts of lady sets. Anyway, as I say, I've now got lots of lovely ideas, so thank you for that. Now I'm going to pop that onto a scrap of So Saffron. because that will help bring out the So Saffron in the ink, if I can ever get the piece out that I want. So I'm going to attach this and then trim it down. So because I do get rid of my stamp sets, sometimes retired stamp sets aren't things that I currently have, is also the added complication in my life. So I'm doing a tiny, weeny, teeny little matte, is I think the word I'm looking for. And again, we'll pop it into the chopper and one. I can never remember the names of any stamp sets, to be honest. It normally takes me, if it's a mini catalogue, it normally takes me to the end of the mini before I remember the names. So, hey, you know, we've only had this mini live for just over 2 weeks. No, a week, 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. Because whilst it was on pre-order for demonstrators only, I wasn't using the names, so that hasn't helped. Plus, most of my stuff from the mini is still on its way from Germany, so not helpful. Right, so this pearl has gone a bit dull because I've been touching it, so I'm just going to add some more blend so that it'll lighten it, brighten it up a bit. And then I'm going to come in, now that I've got this bit done, I can add some more pearls. So I'm going to have one here somewhere, just there I think, and another of the mediums tucked in here. I've got to think about something to go there because I hate the holes. Oh, I know what I could use. Oh, just had a thought. And so 1, 2, 3, I need 2 more. Yeah, Louise, I did talk about this at the beginning of the live. Sorry, this has gone dull as well. And there is an update on the demo website, so you're probably well served to go and have a look at that, because I know you are a demonstrator. So let's put one there. Yeah, I think at the moment, just assume that they're not going to arrive this week. Any orders, I think it's just not going to happen. I'm going to pop one there, I think. Oops, which would be so much better if it stuck. Come on, right way up, please, just stick. Not to me. Make it stick. Right, so that is that bit done. Let me layer that onto my card base. Nothing's, oh yeah, no, something fell off one of these pearls. Do not, I have to say, I've had these pearls for a very, very long time, and I have a sneaking suspicion they are past their best. So this one just fell out of there. So I shall pop it back and make it stick. I am sticking it to a textured surface, which is not great. Now, mostly, thank you, Nora, mostly I do not use the green glue on white card because it can leave a sort of shadow. But because we've got the embossed surface, I am, because it's the best way of making sure that you are sticking it down properly, preferably without the free cat hair. Right, so that is that. Now I have just had an idea of how to stop me being really annoyed by that. So I'm going to grab my mini whatnot and plates and the... Ooh, actually no, I was going to put the circle on. I've just had another idea. Don't need these. Don't need these at all. Don't need that. Right. What I need is this. So I'm going to tie a double bow. I could colour this with the So Saffron if I wished, but I don't. Now the problem with this stuff is, like, it's very, very, very static. Hello, Margaret, and thank you. Jane has just joined. Bye, Pam. Thank you very much for joining. If you want to see the rest, obviously you can catch up later. So I'm just doing a bow. Now the trick with these is to know what are loops and what are ends when you're doing a double bow. It's slightly easier with ribbon than it is with twine, but only slightly. And I just want to get both of those loops the same size, always a plan. And both of those the same size, and I just want a really small bow, which is what I now have. And then if I grab my scissors, I can trim the ends. Both sides. Sorry, I'm holding my breath. Right. Okay, so there's our little bow. Let's get rid of the ribbon. So our little bow with a double end. This is the Make a Wreath bundle, which is in the annual catalogue. So it's, yeah, I'm revisiting things I haven't, things that I've got that I haven't yet used. Now the idea was to separate these loops out. Come along. Thank you. Just so that they look really fluffy. Right, and I'm going to grab a glue dot and pop that on there. And pop that over those holes that I really don't like. It doesn't cover them all, but it doesn't do a bad job. So, and it just adds a little extra something. So that is our first card done. Good grief, and it's only taken me 40 minutes. Okay, right, let's see if I can get the other one done slightly quicker. So again, I'm using white, thick white card, and this time I've got the subtle, yes, the subtle 3D embossing folder, which is the one with the stripes rather than the one with the weave, for want of better descriptions. And I have got the finer of the two wreaths, and this time I'm going to use the small dies, I think. Absolutely can do. That was kind of where I was going, doing something a little quieter. Actually, you know what I think I might do is go almost exclusively So Saffron. So I am going to grab that leaf. Having a change of mind. No, I will. This is going to be really quite, I want just soft sea foam, not So Saffron, soft sea foam. Thank you, Anne. I try, I don't always succeed. Right, okay, so I have made a decision on something. I am going to just do soft sea foam, and I'm going to colour some ribbon with soft sea foam so that we are literally monochrome. So I'm taking my dark soft sea foam blend and my crinkle seam binding ribbon again, and I'm going to just colour one with t'other. Come on, up you come. This is where I get covered in soft sea foam, but there are worse colours to get covered in. Now this will stiffen the ribbon slightly, which is not a bad thing with this ribbon, because it is quite floppy. It may even mean it's not so static, which again is no bad thing. Right, that's probably too much. Oh no, actually I don't think it is. Let's go a bit further. So if you've got white ribbon, so this ribbon, the silver-edged ribbon, anything like that, particularly if it's synthetic rather than a cotton finish, you can dye it with your blends. You can dye it with your Stampin' Right markers as well, or instead. It's just not, it takes longer to dry. Let me just show you what I mean. So this is my soft sea foam blend, and I mean it does a good job, but that's going to take quite a while to dry. It is darker, but again you could do more than one layer of the alcohol marker. But this, because it's a water-based ink, it's going to take a while to dry. So you do have that choice. I'll pop it to one side, and when everything's dry we can do a compare and contrast. So I don't think you have to have the blends, you don't, but I prefer the blends. Right, so scrap white, and then we're going to pop this second card together quite fast, because this is very frou-frou. The wreath itself is very frou-frou, fluffy, and generally, well, fluffy. There's a lot going on, so I don't want too much on it. So I'm going to ink up my 2 stamps in full strength, because we have discovered that half strength is pathetic. It's not pathetic, but it's very, very, very pale. So pop those to one side, grab my little best friend. I'm definitely using dies more now that I've got my mini, because it lives on my desk, and even with my desk looking like a bomb has landed on it, it's much better because it takes up than the large one, because it takes up a smaller space. Now this is the inside of Girly. There's an interesting statement. I'm not quite sure what you mean, girly. You mean the subtles are girly? Yeah. Anywho, so yes, because it's always on my desk, I grab it regularly. Now it can't be used for all dies, so the wreaths won't fit through, for example, but a lot of dies will. Oh, there we are. Sorry, couldn't see my clear plate because it's, what is it? Oh yes, clear. Right. And I am only going to die cut these 3 pieces because, as we know, I like odd numbers. They are girly in that case, yes. I mean, unless you hit the blue end of the subtles. But yes, as a general rule, they are kind of girly. So don't need that, don't need that. Come on. Right, pop those back where they should be, because otherwise they will get lost on my desk. because they're small. And then I will pop the card together because it really isn't going to take long. Okay, so get those bits off. Slightly careful with that because it's quite filigree. Get rid of those. Right, okay, so I'll leave that to one side for the moment. Anne has just joined us. Morning, Anne, or afternoon, evening, whichever it is. Thank you, Bea. This is my late mother's Norwegian jumper. And I love it. It's about the only piece of clothing that I have of hers. But when we were sorting out after she passed away, I saw it and went, I'm having it. So yes, because I've always wanted a proper Norwegian jumper, and now I have one. It's huge. I mean, it's far too large for me, but it's quite nice and snuggly. And in the weather we've got at the moment, it's really, really nice and warm. And I don't feel as if I have to wear an awful lot of layers, because I've got this on, which is about 3 layers of itself, because it's all the threads are dragged across the back. So it's got lots of depth. Audrey's tempted just because. Oh, you've got a contraband one. I don't know if they're in the catalogue. I'll have a little look in a moment. Let me just get this down. Just want that in place enough that I can turn it over and give it a good press. And then I'll have a look. It's about, the gap is about 3.5 inches, there or thereabouts. So again, I'm going to go down into this corner and I'm going to do a bit of manipulation, certainly of that one. So let's pop. But I will have a look for you, Audrey, in a minute. So that's my main leaf. And then I'll have that popped up, I think. So we'll have that popped up there. Then, okay, so here is my blends version, and here is my Stampin' Right marker version. This is still a little wet, but it is still floppy, but it may be floppy because it's still a little wet. If I pop it, let's grab this. So from a color perspective, the blend version is nearer than the Stampin' Right marker, but again, it could be because this is still slightly damp, but I don't honestly know. But if you're not, it's going to be the right tone, even if it's not the same shade, if you see what I mean. So again, definitely easier without the static. Oh, thank you, Wendy. 3.5 inch plates, 3 3/4 inch gap. And your contraband one is now with your grandson. Seems like a good idea. Thank you for sharing, Bea. Right, so pop that in there. So again, I'm just manipulating my bow so that my ends, my loops are the same size. Oop, wrong one. Needs to be that one. Where's my I do find that at this point it's good to have something to pull against if you want them the same length. So again, pull against. Right, so my bow is, yeah, okay. Quite happy with that. So let's trim my ends. And I have remembered that I've got another die cut. Get those in the right tub. Lots I did. I got them into a completely incorrect tub. Then pop that on. So we'll have that there. And then this I'm going to bring up to here so that it's bringing the wreath further forward. So very, very small amount of, just going to move that a little bit so that it's more there. So very, very, very small amount of embellishment. Shall do 2. And then that's just going to go there. So that's the embellishment as in that cluster. And then again, I'm going to grab, actually I might grab something slightly different this time. Let's see what I've got that I could add instead. Ooh, I know what I can add. The opal rounds, which are gorgeous. And these really don't need much else doing to them. They do come in different sizes on the sheet. Do they say 5mm and 6mm? So let's pick up some of the ones that have inevitably moved. And again, I'm just gonna, they are just gorgeous. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. They may be better on the card. So I'm going to pop one there, I think. So again, I'm going to go for really subtle embellishment, and one up there. And then I do want another sentiment down here. So again, I want a scrap of Whisper White. I don't think that's going to be quite wide enough. Yeah, I might get away with it. Might get away with it. This may not fit. But we'll give it a go. It does! Hurrah! Right, so get rid of that. And again, I want some soft sea foam to layer it onto. That looks like it might be made for the job, one way or another. So, pop that to one side for the moment. Grab my mini chopper again. And the first thing I'm going to do is trim just slightly closer to the edge for the end of the W. And then there. So you've got this and haven't used it either, Bea. I'm glad I'm not alone. It's not a Christmas set. It's got Easter greetings, it's got Thanksgiving for those who do Thanksgiving, all sorts. I need to trim that just a teeny weeny bit more. So I would not put this in the Christmas stamp set category. For me, this is all occasions. Get that running. And get my chopper. Then I've just got to pop this on, pop another opal on, and then we'll be done. Woohoo! Okay, so a couple of larger dimensionals even. Pop that there. Another opal, which I'm going to tuck in. Actually, I'm going to, no, that puts the postage up. I'm trying to not put the postage up. Tuck it in there. Because certainly in the UK, putting one of those on top of something that's got dimensionals underneath it would put the cost up. So, fold my card base, grab my bone folder, and then I can add this. Wow! Audrey, that's such good news. I'm so pleased that Martin is back to doing some more normal things. It's been months, you poor thing. Now, as I said when I did the previous one, I wouldn't normally use the green glue on white paper, or card rather, because it can leave a sort of shadow. But because it's embossed, I have. So can you, it will be clearer obviously in the photos that I take, but can you see those little opals? Just about get one twinkling, but really subtle. So that's my second card. This is my first card. Now, the reason I'm in this mode at the moment is because we're doing, you know, that Tuesday is the spot challenge day, and the spot challenge this week is to case a card from Mitosu Crafts, so Jay Soriano. And I looked at all of his cards. I mean, his cards are stunning. It's definitely worth having a look at. There'll be a link on my, thank you, Lorna. There'll be a link on my website in, well, now actually, to the challenge website, and there'll be lots of people who have cased some of Jay's work. I've cased something that is actually not terribly him, but I loved it. So this is what I have done. He used the B set from last mini catalogue, from the last spring mini catalogue, but this is the one that I've made. So this is why I'm in this sort of white on white mode at the moment. This is one of the dragonflies from the Dragonfly Garden stamp set that I have stamped on vellum in early espresso, and then used clear embossing powder over that to get the wings nicely embossed. And I've done that twice, and then I've decapitated and detailed and stuck the second pair underneath. Then we've got some of the metallic pearls down the middle, and then one of the sentiments from the same stamp set, and that's on early espresso. So yes, so that's why I've suddenly gone into this white on white mode. Let's read what you're saying. You love the subtle colours. Thank you, Wendy. Shani loves them. Jan won't be putting this in the Christmas catalogue Christmas category anymore. Good. Cost of postage is ridiculous. Absolutely. First class 85p, I know. Second class 65. I have to say, what I tend to do, thank you, Nora, I'm so pleased you like them. What I tend to do is and not everyone can afford to do this, obviously, but when I know that the postage is going to go up, I buy a lot of the generic first and second class in both standard and large letter, because you can still use them. For years later, you can still use them. So you can buy them at one price, and when the price goes up, you can still use them. So I tend to do that if I know there's going to be a price hike and I'm running low on stamps. I just get a load more, and then I add, if I need to make up a value, I just use 2 of those, and it gives you quite a lot of scope. On the Dragonflies bee, it's the textured art. Hang on, I've got it somewhere to hand. It is the textured paint. Yeah, it's painted texture. So it's the one. It's the new one from. Glad to hear it, Audrey. It's the one of the ones in the new mini. But it is gorgeous. It gives a lot of depth. It's not, if you've got the old world paper, it's not hugely different. You could certainly switch between the two, but it is different, and I do like it, but it isn't so different that if I was on a budget, I would buy this and the other one. I would get one or other. So there we are. I have to say, the fact that so many of you are suddenly back on saying so-and-so is watching would tend to make me feel that quite a few of you have been thrown out by Facebook, which in of itself kind of answers my earlier question. Anywho, thank you very much indeed for joining me this morning. Have a fantastic day. It's actually brightening up here a bit, which could just mean that the new front is coming across. So have a good day, keep safe, keep well, as they say, follow your nation's guidelines vis-a-vis COVID, and I will look forward to seeing some of you on Thursday, and some of you on Saturday, and some of you next week. Audrey, I love that. Yeah, me too. I do pick up the new booklet every time they have a new booklet, so that when I'm weighing things, I know how much things cost. You're very welcome, Candy. Thank you very much indeed. I have to say, I really enjoyed using this, and I'm now really, really sad that I didn't use it for Christmas, because it's such a... they're not difficult cards to put together. Anyway, as Audrey says, ta-ta for now, or TTFN. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to hit that end video button, which means it'll take about 5 minutes for it to actually finish, but, you know, hey. So thank you very much, and I will see you all again very soon.